All right, can I get your first name, please?
Ryan.
Ryan, and your age.
I'm 19 years old.
Awesome. That is a wonderful age. 19. Holy smokes. I remember when I was 19. Now, you sound like a Charlie Kirk fan. Would that be too much?
Probably. I mean, I don't like. I watched his debate on Jubilee. Beyond that, I really don't follow him that much. I mean, I lean right and he leans right, so I think that a lot of the ideals that he talks about are, in coordination with my views.
You really have to wonder. In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
But I just think that he's a smart guy, and I occasionally enjoy hearing what he has to say.
Okay. So I guess, you're kind of aligned as far as the thoughts of Charlie and what, Donald Trump is trying to do for the country. I mean, that is a conservative leaning position. So do those kind of mesh with you as far as that's why you're here and you actually want to hear him because there's kind of like a through line as far as the people?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the reason I'm here, just to hear him talking honestly. I mean, no matter what party you resonate with, there's no denying that Charlie Kirk is a pretty smart guy. I mean, in his debates, he consistently is able to defend his position. And I mean, in Jubilee, I'm sure you've seen the Jubilee video.
Okay. All right, Parker, what is a woman?
A woman is an adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex. Now, define a man.
Define a man. You're looking at one, XY chromosomes in a.
Okay, but does God the Father have XY chromosomes prior to incarnation?
We literally have a religious topic.
He's a father and he's him, but he's not a man?
We have a religious
Wait, so a man is someone with XY chromosomes, but he doesn't have XY chromosomes, yet he's still a man and he still uses preferred pronouns?
It's actually very interesting. In the original Hebrew, Adonai, do you know what Adonai is? It's the Hebrew word for God. It's actually genderless. But
yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, 1v20, and he did pretty well from what I saw. I mean, that's all I have to say in that regard.
Adonai is actually not the word for God. In Hebrew, in the Tanakh, as they call it, or the Torah, like Hebrew, the Jewish Bible, Adonai is basically a placeholder for God, because you're not supposed to say God.
Okay, well, let me ask you then, why? Why do you lean right? You're a young man. You have the whole world ahead of you. You can be whatever you want. What makes you say that I lean right? And what are your thoughts as far as your beliefs?
Well, the reason I lean right is just because, more so because of Christian values, right?
And Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
And I do believe in separation of church and state. I think that's absolutely a positive benefit, right? But I just do believe that a nation founded on Christian values, I think it's important to essentially keep it that way.
My name Bishop Bullwinkle. I got the first church, nothing but the truth. What you say? Deacon Kyle, Deacon George, Deacon Clay. Open up the door and turn them loose. Come on. First I want to thank God for the blood running warm in my veins. Yeah, I thank God for my life, health, and strength. I got a sound mind, I'm not insane. Come on. I ain't gonna preach too long. I ain't gonna take the service too far. My sermon this morning, hell to the no, no, no. Come on. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
And, of course, every religion is tolerated in the United States. But the fact that I just more so, like my religion ties a lot into my political beliefs, that's the reason I tend to lean right. And I think that there's no denying that the party that is more closely associated with evangelicalism is the Republican Party. So that's mostly why I lean right. I also think that a lot of the I don't really know how to word this, but a lot of the associations that the left has with like gender identity and stuff, like for example, right? Like if you were talking to a hard leftist, for example, and they were say, "Hey, I identify as a toad," right? Like a frog.
The dreams that you had you could you do you want you could do so you
And that's your prerogative too. And from this point on out, I have to call you as, refer to you as a frog. Or like, just stuff like that. I think that's a bit delusional because, at the end of the day, you have XX or XY chromosomes. And for that reason.
What about unisex people?
Unisex people?
Got him! Got him!
like people that have like both genitalia. In those cases.
And yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. In those cases, then it's absolutely a special scenario. But for, I'm assuming larger than 95% of the population, which you would know better than I would assume, that the unisex thing is not a present factor in their life. So that's mostly why I lean right. But
what are your thoughts though on the I guess the divisiveness within the country? Because a lot of people say that people like Charlie Kirk, people like Donald Trump, they're driving a wedge within our country, and they cite things like the statement that Donald Trump made on Easter, right? A day where we're supposed to be celebrating the resurrection of Christ and all this other stuff, but there was a divisive statement put out by our president. Do you think that there's any pushback coming from the right, or is it coming from the left? Like, what do you think is happening, and how do we fix this?
Yes, sir. I do even though I do lean right, I can absolutely admit that I do believe that Donald Trump is inherently slightly divisive.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I'm currently an international affairs major, which means that I'm within the Bush School of Government, which also has poli-sci majors. And last year I took a class where we essentially just talked about what we believe to be the largest political turmoil in the United States. And a majority of people, and I do agree with this, said that the divisiveness, the political divisiveness, and and I'm far from believing that Donald Trump is a moral person. I mean, I know he did cheat on his wife. I think it's Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, well, that was one.
Yes.
So about 2 weeks ago, it came out that Tim Walz had hit on a 10-year-old girl, sexualizing her, saying that he would date her in 10 years. Would you ever vote for a candidate that has sexualized their youth?
Bottom line, I think both of our candidates suck.
Like, would you ever vote for a candidate who has sexualized a little girl, saying that he'd date her in 10 years?
No.
Okay, so Donald Trump has sexualized a little girl, telling a 10-year-old girl that he would date her in 10 years.
You said it was Tim Walz just a few seconds ago.
Yeah, and I lied to you.
It's Donald Trump.
It is. It was Donald Trump.
So would you vote for Donald Trump? Well, I already did, so it's too late. Kamala doing what she did with Willie Brown and whatnot.
What relevance does that have to the presidency? Trump's cheated on every single one of his wives.
Sir. And so, I mean, obviously cheating is horrible. I'm sure you can agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. So I'm far from believing that Donald Trump is a moral person.
Bruh.
I would not be too well versed in this regard. I think it's a benefit to the Trump administration. But whether or not that was intentional, that goes over my head. I really would not know.
Okay. All right.